Hi everyone, and welcome to your daily tarot reading for Thursday, the 9th of January 2020. It's a pleasure to be with you today. Thank you for joining me. Before I start the reading, I just want to address the monthly horoscopes for January for each sign of the zodiac. I have tried and I'm trying to make them, but they just don't seem to want to be made. So I think it's going to be a half monthly forecast for the horoscopes because I'm going to end up doing them in the middle of the month. So I'm sorry that the monthlies for January aren't there. You still have the weekly horoscopes and these daily tarot readings for each sign of the zodiac and the yearly horoscopes for each sign of the zodiac. So there are other things to look at. I do predict what's happening in other ways, but yeah. I'm aware that you guys are asking for them and they're not coming. So I'm just letting you know that I'm trying. And something is saying, don't do them. So I listen to my gut. I listen to my guidance. So I don't know what it is. Once I make them, maybe I'll know. Once I don't, maybe I'll know. Maybe I won't know. It doesn't matter. Thursday, the 9th of January. Let's have a look. Got the Star in reverse. We have the Priestess in reverse. And the Six of Swords in reverse. So they're all upside down, so I'm going to read them both ways round. Remind me to do them the other way round at the end. The Six of Swords is usually a journey into something new, kind of thinking along different lines, trying to create something. Here, it's science versus faith. You see the crucifix symbolizing Jesus and the Christian faith. We have all these swords representing science and going against faith, and it's the eternal conflict between, is it evolution or is there some sort of a higher power? Is there some reason to believe? So fundamentally, this card, especially in this deck, raises that question of science versus belief. And I really am fascinated by that time in history, the 1890s, when Oscar Wilde wrote The Picture of Dorian Gray. And before that, I think it was the 1860s. Let me know if I'm wrong. But Frankenstein was written and Bram Stoker wrote his Dracula. And it was a time where it was really medicine and science really was a new frontier, and it was almost being treated as a religion, you see? So it was, do we now believe in this new revelation, which is science, which ultimately has shown not to have all the answers, even though they have discovered things like when you look at an object, the actual physics of the object change simply because it's being regarded. So they're starting to catch up on this idea that the world is an illusion and that we are light beings and we manifest the world around us. That is your choice today. So even people who meditate, I mean, I would never even go there. Like, for me, that question has been answered 10 years ago. So I wouldn't even go science versus faith. I mean, but what the card means, I think, is conflict, or the tendency to go away from having faith and trying to do things yourself and taking control back. And I think we can all relate to that one. The next card is the High Priestess. The High Priestess, or the Priestess, is the oracle who knows absolutely everything. She knows about travel, abundance, jewels, different cultures. She knows what you are, who you are, where you've come from. She realizes that she casts this net, or she is in between the net of the physical world with the camels and everything, and the spiritual world, and she has all the answers about the physical world because the physical world is an extension of the spiritual world, and she gets that. And she doesn't take action. She is someone who knows, who receives, who understands things. So on the one side, you're being asked, or you're being prompted to question your fundamental beliefs, or the beliefs that you've been carrying around with you for the last 10 years, for instance. Because the high priestess, look at the veil, how thin it is, the veil between this world and the other worlds. It's a net. You can see through it, that it's that thin. So today it's an amazing day to have a personal reading, or to look within to see what behavior is really your ego, where you try and control things out of fear or pride, or because you're inconsiderate and you're only thinking about yourself, versus how you can stop that and give up the battle and throw the towel in, because you realize and you understand that you are a light being, you have faith in yourself, and that you don't need to engage in that self-destructive behavior. So for instance, if I'm with someone who I think is far too attractive for me, I'm going to be in that relationship and I'm constantly going to be scared that he's going to leave me, or that he's going to cheat on me, because he's just so much better looking than me. That fear is going to cause me to behave in certain ways, which will manifest that relationship breaking up. Because if I'm that afraid, fear manifests more fear, and that is going to ruin the relationship. So what patterns do you have that are less than perfect? I tend to, if someone says the wrong thing to me, I tend to, I can really latch on to that and say, no. And I can take things too personally. So that's something that I could look at in myself. And the priestess is going to enable me to look at that and say, do you want to keep this? Because really, what is that all about? Taking things too personally and being sensitive to what other people are saying. It's basically fear. And the ego tries and protects itself and says, actually, I'm perfect, so no one gets to criticize me. It's just self-loathing disguised as pride. So if I really had the faith and I really believed that I was this magical, beyond reproach, divine being, which I am, I know on some level that I am, but on another level, I know I'm a human being, then I can look at that and say, do you know what? People who criticize me, it doesn't bother me in the slightest, because I realize I am this higher being. I have a human side, but the higher self outweighs the reaction of nastiness or whatever it would be that I would use to overcompensate for feeling inferior. Rather than acting that out, I resolve the root problem, you see? So it's like treating the symptom rather than the root cause. And today you get to uproot the root cause of a way of thinking in your own mind that doesn't serve and help you, that keeps you separate from the higher realms. And because that is removed today, you become the star. You're able to let go of negative behavior patterns and thoughts. You're able to make yourself vulnerable and lay yourself bare to look at yourself. This is very feminine. And we're coming up on lunar eclipse in Cancer, which is happening the next day, tomorrow, on Friday, the 10th of January. So the energy is building up for that, and it's already appearing in this reading. So have the courage to really look at your own behaviors that you don't like particularly. And like the example I mentioned, and really hand that over to the universe and say, do you know what? I understand this now. I understand why I behave like this. I don't want to behave like that in future. I'm handing this over to you. You create a space within yourself where that negative thought was, and the universe provides you with something shiny and wonderful that it pours into you, because you've now poured out the negative. So instead of taking things personally, you now have this wonderful ability to light up a room and to make it feel like you are the sunshine when you enter a room because you just have such a great energy about you. That's a gift from the universe that all of us can have when we really recognize who we truly are. So what I'm saying with my example is, yes, I meditate and I realize I'm a higher being just the way all of us are and that we're not separate. But what I'm saying is that none of us are perfect, and the world is an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. Someone said that, it wasn't me. And it is persistent because these bodies that we're in, they really make us think that we're separate. So when someone insults you, you may for a moment forget that you are all one, and you may say, hang on a minute, how dare they? And then really be hurt. Whereas if you really think about it, or once you have thought about it on a day like this, and you realize that you are beyond reproach because you are this divine being, and the only person you have to answer to is really your higher self and the universe, and you don't even have to answer to them. They love you. They know everything about you anyway. So trying to stand up for yourself would be unnecessary, because you'd be like, oh, thank you for sharing your opinion. That really means a lot to me. Not. And that's a much better place, isn't it? Like if someone says, oh my God, you're such an idiot, and you say, how dare you call me an idiot? I am very intelligent, I'll have you know. No really, really secure, intelligent person would respond that way. They'd come up with a witty comeback, a witty put down. Like, oh, and you're a rocket scientist, are you? I don't know. You see, I'm not a witty person. Like, for instance, Churchill. Someone called him a drunk. And he said, yes, madam, I'm drunk. But the difference is that I'm going to be sober tomorrow and you're still going to be ugly tomorrow. No, I'm no longer going to be drunk. I'm going to be sober tomorrow, whereas you're ugly now and you're still going to be ugly tomorrow. That's a really nasty, good comeback. But also, again, it's very telling in that Churchill must have been a drunk, or must have at least felt that he was near the edge of alcoholism. Otherwise, he wouldn't have needed to retort so violently, if you see what I mean. If it doesn't apply, then you don't protest. The lady doth protest too much. It's, when you're really puffing yourself up and saying, hey, I am this wonderful, and you can't even criticize me, we all realize that you're not certain of yourself, and you don't need to be a psychic to recognize that. Today you get the opportunity to put the masks away. You get some quiet time, peace of mind. You get to look at yourself truly, madly, deeply, and be in love with yourself and love the things about you, because every characteristic you've picked up because it's worked for you in life. Life also causes us to react. We're not always attuned, and most of us don't come out of the womb saying, oh God, yes, there's a Jesus. Most of us are just people. So you don't always think like, oh, I'll turn the other cheek. I'm just so spiritual. No, we don't do that. And today you get the chance to have a look, to really change your vibration fundamentally, and for a thought like inferior intellect, or being not tall enough, or not good looking enough, or not enough in whatever way you feel, that comes out as sarcasm or vindictiveness or whatever it comes out as, that's just a symptom of the wound. And today you get to heal the wound with the help of the priestess, and you're not going to have to lash out anymore. So if you have a sharp tongue, okay, and you really do take people down verbally, then don't say, oh, I'm so nasty, I'm awful the way I just rip these people. Say, this is something I have, I'm going to accept it, I'm going to embrace it with love, and only then, when I embrace it with love, can I change it and let it go. If I criticize and hammer myself, use that horrible voice to get rid of that horrible voice, it's just going to get more entrenched and worse. So it's about taking a breath and letting go rather than trying to hang on to things and control things even more. It's about breathing out, realizing everything's going to be okay, you're okay. Let go of the negative things and expect a present from the universe that is full of spirit and full of loving, positive energy. So that everything you get rid of, you replace it with something divine and fabulous. So as far as days go, this is wonderful. So I'm asking you the question, how free do you want to be? Don't just get rid of one aspect of yourself that you don't like. Get rid of all of them and do it once and for all. This personality that I've built up that has nothing to do with the real me, we're getting rid of it because I don't need it anymore. I'm no longer under threat, for example. So looking within is scary. Going into your own head sometimes without company is scary. So realize that you're never alone. You've got your guardian angel, your higher self, everyone with you, protecting you. So you can't hurt yourself, you see, by looking within. That's often the fear. If I admit all these things that I am and that I do, I'm going to destroy myself. No, you liberate yourself. 15, 16, 17 and 2 is 19. 19 and 6 is 25. 2 and 5 is 7, which in numerology is the mind and creativity and the way you think. So you have the opportunity to think about the way you think, and you're not able to resolve it through thinking, but you're able to resolve it by letting go, handing it over to something bigger than yourself, something unmanifest. By letting go those things, the universe, the unmanifest, then presents you with even more gifts. And they can be creative gifts, they can be gifts of any sort. So have a wonderful day. Make sure you get your present. Otherwise, you're missing out on the opportunity of the day to be able to look at things in a positive, lovely, lovely way. If you would like a personal reading with me, then please get in touch via my website, gregoryscott.com, for a personal reading. I started there because I was going to say, if today you find it really difficult to look within yourself and you find that hard, then that's where people like me come in, because I can look at your chart and your cards and really they show me everything about you. And I can answer any questions you may have. So if you would like a reading, head over to the website. On the front page, just click on the book your readings button now, or the shop tab to order your reading with me. In your reading, I draw up your birth chart by using your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. If you don't have the time of birth, then order a birth chart rectification on the website, please. That's the process where I work out your time of birth. It makes your chart much more accurate. I then look at the astrology, the tarot, and the numbers, and I can answer any questions you may have. So if you are interested in that, please head over to my website. If you like this video, then please share it online and hit the subscribe button. I'd be ever so grateful. Have a look at the video on the eclipse that's happening tomorrow on the 10th. It's really, really significant. Have a great day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. I just reminded myself that I didn't turn them around. I'm so sorry. The star in reverse means that you don't believe in yourself and you let negativity come in. That causes and pushes you into action, which is really focused on the physical and which causes you more problems and gets you more stuck than it does help you in making progress or liberating you in some sense. So it's important not to look at the existing physical circumstances in your life as they are, your existing financial situation, your existing living situation, your existing health, and to make a fear-based decision on that. It's important to turn this around, to let go of those fears. It's exactly those fears that we tend to hang on to and that we tend to fight for when we ought to let them go. And we can only let them go when we feel safe enough, because we're supported by the universe, and then we can let them go and become the stars that we are. If we don't trust and we just try and do everything by ourselves, we get ourselves into a situation that's really tricky, and that makes us feel trapped and stuck.